Good morning, good afternoon, good day. It is the afternoon, it's 1 p.m. minus a minute and a few seconds on May the 6th. May the 6th. And this is day 34 of a 35-day or 35 episode, if you will, presentation on being unbound. 35 days is the exact number of days from my rock bottom break to the day that I recognized that I no longer had anxiety. 1,125 days ago and counting, with nothing, no anxiety, none whatsoever. And so I wanted to just make this an opportunity for my story to be generally understood as a primer to invite others into this conversation. So there's one more episode after today, tomorrow. And I want to turn this outward today. So we spent most of this series going inward, excavating, examining, naming, releasing, building. And that inner space work is the foundation of everything. And I don't apologize for the space or the time we've spent there in this space. But today I want to look up. I want to ask about the people around you, about who you've been thinking about during these 34 days. Whose faces appeared in your mind when a particular teaching landed? Not because it was about you, but because you knew someone who needed to hear it. I want to talk about the invitation, about what it means to extend what you found to someone else. Here's something I've noticed about genuine freedom. It is not a possession. It's not a resource that diminishes when you share it. Freedom shared is exponentially multiplied as freedom. So freedom shared is freedom multiplied. The transmission of genuine freedom, the real, lived, embodied kind that we've been building toward, does not require the transmission of a program or a framework or a series of steps. It requires the presence of a person who actually has it. Years and years ago, I used to say, you cannot give someone what you do not have. You cannot be for someone what you are not for yourself. And the list goes on and on. So if you have freedom, extending genuine invitation to a person is what you are able to do because you understand the person is capable of it because you have done it. See, that's the whole mechanism, right? And it's enormously powerful. Think about how you first found this series, whether you watched it live or you're watching it, on my YouTube channel, or how you first found the app that holds some deeper teachings and some of the instructions there, or how you found the network, or the courses, or the coaching, or how you first found anything that really helped you. I mean, someone in your life, maybe directly, maybe through the witness of their life, showed you something was possible. They gave you evidence. We've talked about that. They let you see a human being on the other side of something that you were afraid wasn't crossable. So that's the invitation. And it's available to you to extend to someone else right now. So I want you to think specifically, not just generally, but specifically one person, not the person who needs to be fixed. Understand that. Not the person you're worried about, whose life is in obvious crisis. I have so many of those people who are close to me and have been close to me for years. These are not the people that I'm talking about. Not the person for whom this is an emergency, because this work can't start in crisis. I want you to think about the person who is quietly disappearing, who's been comfortable for a very long time, who is competent and functional in getting through the days, but who, when you really look, is slightly outside their own life. They're sort of living another life that's not theirs. They're managing rather than living, performing rather than inhabiting. That person. The one you can see from the inside because you've been there, right? Because you know the shape of it, because the quiet, invisible disappearing is exactly what this work is designed for. Who is that person in your life? You don't want to recruit them. You don't want to give them a sales pitch about the framework. Just to say, hey, I've been doing something that has been genuinely useful to me, and I thought of you. That's the whole invitation. Sometimes for the right person at the right moment, that's enough to open a door. I'll be publishing a series of essays that I've been writing just abstractly over the last 6 weeks. And one of them is about an experience that I had somatically last week. And if it weren't for another person in my life, that door in that experience would have never been opened. I could have worked for 5 more years in this inner space and never have gotten to where it got me in 5 seconds because someone else was there. Let me be clear about what you're offering when you make this invitation. You're not offering a solution to their problems. You're not offering a promise that everything's going to get easier, the hard things are going to get better. You're offering evidence that freedom is possible for someone like them in circumstances like theirs, at a level of complication and mess and unresolved complexity like the one they're actually in. And you're offering companionship, not guidance. You're not the guide, not expertise, just the companionship of a person who is doing the same work, who's in the same process, who can say, I know what this territory looks like from the inside, and the realness of the work. I know what it looks like. And I know that the other side is real, and you're not going to be alone in it. That's an extraordinary thing to offer to someone. And you have it to give just by listening to these 35 things. I want to tell you why I do this work publicly. The real reason, not the strategy reason, okay? I do it because what I received on April the 8th, 2023, on that morning, I came through a door that I would not have known existed if I hadn't had somewhere in my history the testimony of people who had come through similar doors. People who had been where I was and had found a way to the other side. People whose lives were evidence that freedom was possible. Not as a concept, but as a lived reality for a real person with real complexity in their lives. The friend who said to me, the way you talk about yourself, James, the way you say that you're angry or that you like to, chop people in the throat and just play it off. He says, I don't see that man before me, and I haven't seen that man before me in the entirety that I've known you. I think you believe that, and it's a lie. See, I do not know if I would have found the door without that evidence. Of another friend that confided to me about a very difficult time, a very hard situation, and that they learned through that hardness that there was a possibility to heal, but you just had to do the work. Oh, so you've been through this too. You've sat in suicide. You've sat in despair. You've sat in panic. You've sat with your body being destroyed. Absolutely. People have. And then they're the evidence. You're the evidence. And so I do this live series, the public teaching that will continue, and the lectures from the desk. I'm in the middle of masks. I have one tomorrow, which will be May the 7th at 1 p.m., I think. Check my social. It's all listed there. The daily showing up. I do all of this for the person who is where I was, who needs to see someone on the other side of something they're not sure is survivable. Now, I have 1,000 stories, and I have pieces of evidence that relate to a lot of people, make an affinity with them. But the evidence is better suited that who I am on the other side of this is possible, not that we share the same pain. The person who needs evidence is who I'm talking to, not concepts. I am that evidence, and you are that evidence because of people who were evidence for me and for you. You have been here for 34 days. You've done the work, and you are more yourself today if you were doing this than you were a month ago. That's a little longer than a month ago. So I didn't do weekends, and there were several times I didn't do any. You are evidence too for someone. The question is just whether you're going to show up in that role, whether you're going to be willing to let your life, your transformation, your building, your growing, the process of becoming you, whether you're going to let that be visible to the person who needs to see it. The hall moment. If you don't know what that is, just go back and look. Go to my website, autonomycommission.com. You can look at some of those things. The hall moment of invitation is the moment you realize your story has stopped being just yours. The honesty is what happened to me, what I've built, what I know. It is not just for me. It was never just for me. The freedom I've been given is not private possession. It's not something I hold in a box. It's a resource, and resources that are hoarded don't multiply, they dissipate. When that honesty lands, something aligns with a specific kind of generosity. The recognition that giving this away, not in a depleting way, not from a place of deficit, but from genuine abundance, is in itself an act of freedom. And the language that forms is the language of the person who has enough to share, who has built something real and knows it and is willing to let it be visible. So today, I want you to do one thing. Send today's live or any day from this series that was most significant to you. You can go on YouTube and look it up, to one person that you thought, that came to mind, that you thought of as you were watching it. Not with a long message, no sales pitch or framework explanation. Just, hey, I've been doing something that has been genuinely useful and I thought of you. That's it. That's the whole thing. Do it before you close out the day, because the right person at the right moment receiving the right invitation might find exactly what they needed to find their own door. Day 34. Tomorrow is the last day. And I've been thinking about what I want to say on day 35 since I started this whole thing. And now it's here. So come back tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will do 8 a.m. tomorrow, May the 7th. Don't miss the last one. And bring someone with you. See you in the morning. Be well. We're setting you free.